Hello everyone, it is really nice to see you all here. Today, together with Daniel, we will discuss the topic accelerating innovations in Europe. But first of all, let us introduce ourselves a little bit. Daniel, if you could start.
Hi everyone, hi team. uh, so thank you so much for attending the session today. We're in South Summit, both the hottest event for startups, both physically and literally, here in Spain. And I'm Daniel Ordans. I'm the business director at The Nest. So essentially what we do is we're the main outsourcing partner for startups to help them grow through the different stages to help them become unicorns and potentially enter into the IPO stage and improve all that customer experience that brings that growth along. And Alexandra.
Hi, I'm Alexandra. I'm a founder of Economy Accelerator. And Economy Accelerator is a Warsaw-based accelerating program for startups and small and medium-sized companies. We mainly help companies from Poland, but also from CE region, so Central and Eastern European region. It includes 11 countries. And mainly we are focusing on promoting, helping to grow them, and most important, helping them to internationalize their operations by organizing any kind of workshops with experts, helping them to get to such conferences as here at South Summit. So that's what we are doing. And today, just to start our discussion, firstly, we together with Daniel agreed to cover a couple of, let's say, topics. And first of all, we discussed growing beyond borders. What are the key points to grow internationally? Actually, we both are really deep into that topic, and actually it's a really important one, especially for scale-ups, for companies which already has this product market fit. And for sure, there are a couple of things which companies should first think about when growing internationally. Of course, there are those basics as legal stuff or tax stuff, but what we are actually really focusing at Economic Accelerator is the stuff connected with marketing and communication of entering international markets. For example, from our experience in CE region, as we discussed previously with Daniel, people may think, for example, that Poland, which is actually the biggest country in CE region, is, for example, pretty similar to other Slavic countries. But it's definitely not. There are different reasons why people and companies actually buy products, services, and we have to, first of all, research a lot about their behaviors, their actually reasons why they are interested in such products. And the same actually applies for other regions in the world, in Western countries, in Southern countries. So I would love to also hear the point of Daniel.
So yeah, that's exactly right, Alexandra. So essentially what we see a lot in The Nest is that essentially, and also like the companies that we're seeing here today are companies that they don't want to be a small, medium-sized company. They want to conquer the world, right? Or what I usually talk about, focusing more on like climbing this Mount Everest, which is becoming a startup. So in order to be on top of the Everest mountain, where like the Googles, the Amazons, the Apples that started from the bottom, climb up there, you have to build a series of things and be able to grow internationally. So what we've done in The Nest and what we do quite well over the past few years is essentially help those customers. We're essentially like the Sherpa or the guide that helps you go up that mountain. So especially now that there's going to be tighter monetary policy, we're seeing it's like companies are not that focused on growth. They have to find a more structured revenue end game, like Some have to even look for profitability. So all these companies need a sort of like a guide or support to help them, as you well said, like growing internationally and all that. And they need a partner like us, or certain partners to help them, so they don't die while they go up this Mount Everest that's launching a startup. So anything from like customer engagement, enabling a sales team that's actually international. So I've speaking to a lot of startups in this event, and many of them are like, they're Spanish startups, and they're telling me, what we want to do now is that we want to, like, Spain is a nice ecosystem, but we want to grow to South America. So, but growing in South America without the processes in place, the knowledge of the market, and the people within that culture, because we also talked about the difference about cultures, and unless you have a partner that helps you with that growth, it's very hard to do that. And that's what we specialize, and we help startups in that sense.
Yeah, as Daniel said, it's really important to have those partners when getting abroad, because they've got this knowledge, their expertise, if it comes to like those nuances of international markets. And like also from our perspective, actually, as we were working with a couple of scale-ups, we actually noticed that it's really important also to work really closely actually with people from the country startup is entering to. Yeah, it's really important to have those people who are actually knowing how to communicate with a target group, how to, it's not only actually about the language, it's also about the whole communication, because the language is, everyone can actually learn a language, but it's about also like researching this target group and, let's say, speak the language like beyond the actual language. Another topic which we want to cover, it's connected with really famous Peter Drucker quote, let's say, do what you do the best and outsource the rest. I think that's like Daniel could speak a lot about that topic, but while working with C startups, and I think is a general, let's say, rule at the very beginning, of course, when you are the founder, the CEO of a company, it's the best thing just to not to outsource that much, because a lot of things like you get to know how to work with legal stuff, how to work on finances, how to get to know your target group. Of course, such basics as let's say this legal or finances you can outsource, because there are some kind of let's say things which are doing on a daily basis, and there are like a lot of companies which specialize in such operations. But at the same time, I think it's like thing which you should outsource. Very finally, let's say, it's stuff connected with marketing, because it's about to getting to know your customers, getting feedback about your product, and at the same time creating this unique value proposition and knowing actually what your customers think about the product. Yeah, what do you think about it, Daniel?
There's certain aspects, like Peter Drucker says really well, right? So focus on your best and outsource the rest. Like there's certain aspects of your business, like startups have very limited resources, especially now, that like we've mixed a lot about the word growth and scalability over the past few years. And now we have to be really scalable, right? So you have limited resources, you have to grow with those limited resources. And essentially, an outsourcing partner helps you there, right? So we help in that transition and saying like, look, we know those objectives down the line, but before we enter, we have to work together to understand like all these volumes, all these processes, and make sure and help you grow to the next, let's say, Series C, Series D, and all that. That's where we focus on. It's true, at the very beginning, an outsourcing partner at the very, very early stage is not because you can't really validate if the product is going to work, the solution is going to work. But once you start seeing that movement and that interest, and a lot of the companies that are here today are showing that, and being in an amazing event like South Summit proves that. We see like the next, I'd say like 2 or 3 years, it's going to be a rough ride for a lot of startups, but they're going to have to be smart. They're have to be frugal. So no Uber or crazy investments and all that. It's going to be smart. So a mature company like The Nest, with the horsepower of a big company like Webhelp, that's an international company, helps a lot of startups in that sense. And we work with, and we have the expertise both on an industry level and on a startup level.
Yeah, sure.
And Alexandra, I was going to ask you, because I'm here. So, what do you think? How do you think we can support the creation of innovation in the startup ecosystem within the European ecosystem?
Yeah, sure. I think like the most important thing is to like starting from the roots, let's say, because it all starts with like entrepreneurial mind, let's say, and being brave enough to start your own company. Yeah. So first of all, I think the most important thing is to really put focus on educational system, because of course each of us go through that path, yeah, and we can all actually can talk a lot about like advantages, but also a lot of disadvantages of educational system. And I think like the most important thing is to like put as much as we can like focus on entrepreneurial, let's say, part of education. Not only about like learning theory and learning just like theory, but also this practical side of education. And when we step out of like this educational path, let's say, such partners as accelerators, for example, incubators, can help people to start like building their own companies. And like let's say fulfill this gap of knowledge which we cannot actually learn at the business schools, universities, because it's like more theory, as we said. Unfortunately, if you can add something, Daniel, to that. Yeah,
absolutely. So like in early stages, it's very important to have like an accelerator to help that startup like really materialize an idea. Essentially, that's what you guys are. That's what it's for, like help you brainstorm. And once that starts getting traction, the end goal of the startup is, as you said, right? Like expand, grow, start hiring team, and seeing like, okay, what's the next obstacle, right? And it's a series of obstacles, and the accelerator helps at the early stage in that obstacle process. And it's super important in that sense, right? And especially in this borderless world that we live in, where talent doesn't know a specific region or that, because we're seeing like that expansion growing across different regions. Both accelerators are working worldwide, and once that whole process has been done, jumping into something like us and all that is always really beneficial for further growth. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we see that we are running out of time. Thank you very much for attending. We are more than happy to answer your questions, but I think let's talk about like when we step out of the stage. So just one question, if anyone has.
Shy audience.
Yeah. But we are happy to answer questions when stepping out of the stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.